they really want to shut this down. They're really trying. And I want to show TV viewers, I'll describe it for radio listeners, this copyright notification that, if successful, will take down the channel. And already we're not able to upload over 15-minute videos and are in what they call probation, guilty until proven innocent right now. And again, if they can do this to us, they can do it to anybody. And we're going to give you the name of the video as well that they are trying to censor. Mystery, Sandy Hook victim dies again in Pakistan. And I'm going to show you some of these photos from the BBC of people in Pakistan holding up photos of children they say were killed by terrorists. And it is one of the Sandy Hook victims. So we just said, man, what's going on in Pakistan? What are they faking? Well, the answer to that was the HONR, or Honor Network. Lenny Posner, who reportedly lost his son there, came in and filed a copyright claim on us showing a BBC News article. You can't do that. For those that don't know how copyright works, I could show a clip off the news if I was analyzing it in commentary, but I could certainly show newspapers all day long. I've been doing this for 20 years. I took RTF. That was the first thing they taught us. I've had to sit in on lawyer meetings. I've been involved in lawsuits that we've won dealing with this, and I've countersued people. It's all on record. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about on defamation. Knock on wood, we've never had that problem. Other people have and have settled with us out of court twice. So I know of what I speak, and you can't go to somebody's YouTube channel and say they showed a news article from the BBC and then say that you can't show that because someone in Pakistan was holding up a photo of your son who reportedly died at Sandy Hook, and they're saying that the same person died in a terror attack in Pakistan. Obviously, we've got to investigate this, just like we investigated Brian Williams and his claims. So we're sorry for everybody's losses, whatever. We're investigating this, though, because we live in a system where the media exploits things and twists things. Paul Watson thinks the official story of Sandy Hook is true. He's my chief reporter. And we get major heat from the folks that think Sandy Hook was totally staged, saying, why aren't you on the same page? Because we're investigating. I think there's some cover-ups there. I know they're using blue screens. I've seen the footage of people going in and out in circles in the building. It doesn't look right. It doesn't pass the smell test. Now, there are literally hundreds of smoking guns here that this thing doesn't add up. Now, this group, and we're going to skip this network break because this is so important, because there won't be a show if stuff like this is successful. I mean, this is an attack on everybody's free speech. This group, and I'm going to, again, show TV viewers, radio listeners can go to Infowars.com, type in the search engine, mystery, Sandy Hook victim dies again, and see our screenshots of the BBC articles and others that show Mr. Posner's son that they're saying is a child killed in a terror attack a few months ago in Pakistan. This is January 2nd, 2015 article. And it goes on to say, among the alleged victims of the terror attack in Pakistan is the face of Noah Posner, one of the children supposedly killed in the December 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting in Newtown, Connecticut. And then it goes through to indeed show his picture. And again, this is from the BBC, and we have the screenshot of them showing this, and we show two other news sources, here's BBC News World, and it shows again his photo there. I mean, who wouldn't point this out? I mean, is the Pakistan bombing fake? I mean, one of these two is fake. So the answer here is when top school safety experts that teach at a national level go and investigate, these people have been on the show, the feds and police show up at their house and threaten them to shut up and to stop investigating. They've sealed all the cases. They've torn down the school. So we're not, I mean, I just want to tell this network of people something. I'll have to go to Sandy Hook. I'll have to get involved if, I mean, you're just stirring up a hornet's nest here, because My reporters just reported on this because it's a bizarre anomaly and needs to be looked into. And now you're claiming that I violated copyright by showing screenshots of BBC News reports showing your son's photo being promoted as a victim of a terror attack in Pakistan. We have a long history of government staging things that don't even happen. There are hundreds of false flags that are declassified. So it's normal to question Hillary when she says that she was shot at in Bosnia and then there's footage of it not happening. It's normal to question Brian Williams. It's normal to question Obama and to say, hey, there's death panels in this, and hey, they got caught shipping guns into Mexico that killed thousands and killed dozens here, to blame the Second Amendment, and it came out in memos that it was to blame the Second Amendment on CBS News. So in this type of environment, where Cy Hirsch has the headline, two-time Pulitzer Prize winner, the entire bin Laden story of his death is not true. He said 100% not true. People say, well, then what really happened? Well, we don't know, but the official story is not true. They didn't bury him at sea. The sailors are on record that there was no ceremony. They've admitted that didn't happen. There was no Situation Room video feed. They blew up the Navy SEALs on the ground, got rid of the ones they couldn't get rid of a month later, blew them up. I've had the Navy SEAL families on. I've talked to the Navy SEALs. I was the first to break it. I mean, we are just investigating a system that lies almost all the time. How do you know they're lying? Their lips are moving. And so I early on said, I can't believe that they would stage this. I'm sure they killed real children. There are crazy people out there. And another Prozac head. And then I got attacked by people that don't believe anything the system says. And quite frankly, I can't blame them. But that's not the issue. Whether you think Sandy Hook smells or you don't, whether you're Rob Dew that thinks it's totally fake, or whether you're Paul Watson that thinks the story's true. These are both legitimate men who are smart, who disagree in my operation. I still don't know exactly what happened. I mean, I knew 14 years ago that Saudi Arabia quarterbacked 9/11 because I interviewed the head of the visa section at the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh. I talked to scores of experts. I read Colonel Schaefer in the San Francisco Chronicle saying they were ordered to stand down. I talked to CFR people that said it was all staged and he was already dead. And then here we are 14 years later, and they say there's 28 pages that says exactly that and that they're going to declassify it. I don't know the whole story. I just know we're being lied to. It's like a police investigation. When you show up and you say, is there anything going on? Anything in that back bedroom where you just heard some noises? No. You go in there and there's a woman tied up. Now, I don't know exactly how she got tied up or why she's got cuts all over, but I think the guy that came to the front door who said nothing was going on when the neighbors reported hearing somebody screaming, I think he's lying. Do I know the whole story? No, I don't know the whole story. But am I being lied to? Absolutely, I'm being lied to. Absolutely. And then my reporters simply say, look, here's the BBC and the London Telegraph and the Pakistani TV all showing this guy's reportedly dead son. And then this group comes and says that we violated their copyright and then claim Fox News. So they're using a Fox News ID to trigger the suspension of the Alex Jones channel. That if they're successful, they will shut down videos, thousands of videos and reports, and millions of dollars of work. In fact, let's go to the About page on the Alex Jones channel, one of many channels we have. And by the way, they're all linked together, so they take one down, they take them all down. Paul Watson's with 30-something million, another with 40-something million, another with 100 million, another with 475 million. And these videos continue to grow. So there's about 1 million subscribers, 950,000 plus subscribers on this one channel, 474 million. And let's see how many videos. Let's back out on that. It should show the number of videos that we have on the channel. It used to. I guess they're removing that stuff. There are thousands of videos on that channel. Incredible work, films, you name it. Things we've risked our lives to bring you. I mean, the incredible Bundy Ranch Feds stand down. Interviews with world leaders. Exclusive after exclusive after exclusive, and they want to come by and say that I'm a thief, that I've stolen their copyright, when it's us reporting on the news showing the image of people holding up his son's picture in Pakistan saying he was killed by al-Qaeda terrorist. Now, if that isn't something that, I mean, this would be like Brian Williams saying, I'm going to sue NBC because they're showing my picture. Or if we showed Brian Williams' picture and said, here is a known liar, and then, oh, our website shut down. We showed Brian Williams. You understand, folks? This is how they're applying it. Now, the only time you could do this is if I had a photo of his son and was using it for fundraising. Or if I had a photo of his poor son and I was selling tennis shoes with him as a spokesman. You can't do that for commercial purposes. But we're not in entertainment. This is not a entertainment venue. This is a hardcore news venue, completely protected under the First Amendment, and they know that. They know that. And this is the whole way under SOPA and CISPA globally, where you get 3 claims, just like the Google model, by any company or individual that your website, your profile, your information violates their copyright or is hurtful to them under political correctness and so-called hate laws. No judge, no jury. You are banned from the internet with a new global internet ID number. The keyboards are coming out with this, the thumbprinting, you get into your iPhone, the internet kill switches, cell phone kill switches. It's all being announced. I told you about it 15 years ago. They're now telling you because they're getting ready to go operational and use it. England announced they're going to take control of the cars by remote control if, quote, your car is in danger. Oh, the robot's already in there. It's going to drive to keep you safe. The government literally activating the hacking boxes in the cars and rolling it out like it's a public service. And this is how they plan to kill free speech. Take Drudge Report. Drudge Report before has linked to a newspaper article sending them massive traffic at the Las Vegas Review-Journal. This happened 5 years ago. Sending millions of visitors to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And the Las Vegas Review-Journal used a cutout company to sue Drudge and over 400 other groups, including us, claiming that even linking to someone is copyright infringement when you're sending them 1 million+ visitors. Of course, that ended up getting defeated, and the group involved with that basically got plucked. You can look into the whole Righthaven case if you want to see what happened with that. But I've been down these roads, folks. I know what I'm talking about. And they think because they can hold out some little kids and say, we're shutting people's websites down because they're belittling the memory of these children. No, we're not. But even if we were, you couldn't violate our First Amendment because that's what it's there for. And if you take our rights, you take everybody's rights. I don't like what the Ku Klux Klan has to say. I don't like what the New Black Panther Party has to say. But you know what? They got a right to say it. Well, guess what? We didn't say that your son didn't die there. We said, boy, why is his photo being shown at all these different rallies and all over the news as one of the dead? This is bizarre in Pakistan. And the response is to go in here and try to shut down our YouTube channels that continue to rack up over 10 million viewers a week. That's incredible. So, look, I have no other choice but to get the lawyers going here and go toe-to-toe because you're not going to run over our First Amendment. You understand that? You're not going to sacrifice our freedom. The First Amendment is there for everybody. It's there across the board. And there are similar laws in supposedly other free societies in Europe and other areas. But this reign of terror that's going on across the internet, misapplying copyright laws and saying that people can't videotape the police in public or that you can't stand in front of a McDonald's or in front of another franchise and talk about them. Enron, back when they were going down in Houston, with our reporters, but also with others, would say, you can't stand on the other side of the street and show our logo. It's copyright. They would have security guards come over to us. We've got video of this. Kevin Booth has it. We've played it many years ago. We probably find it. And they just say, you can't videotape here. This is our logo. And we're like, excuse us? Aaron Dykes and Rob Jacobson wanted to get a faraway shot at about a half-mile away at the World War I Memorial in Kansas City of the Federal Reserve Bank there. And here come armed security guards saying, turn your camera off and get out of here. You're basically violating our rights by videotaping our building. We own that building. You can't videotape it. In fact, there have been federal cases where the NSA would tell people they couldn't sit a half-mile away and get a shot of Fort Meade. We've had our reporters in San Antonio told in a Walmart parking lot, as it was Jakari Jackson, that he couldn't videotape the new NSA facility, as if it was a security risk, as if anybody couldn't go show that. This is an attempt to tell us that there's no free speech. And it's a big deal. And if we stop making it a big deal when this type of stuff happens, then we're going to lose all of our basic freedoms. In fact, if you're a TV viewer, we're actually showing our footage of where they were shooting the World War I Memorial. The Federal Reserve is down the street, and the armed security guards, look at that, half-mile away, show up and say, give us your ID. And I've told the guys not to be confrontational, so they go ahead and give them their ID. And they say, well, we're just going to tell you to go, or we're going to arrest you. And they start putting their hands on their guns. So our guys just left and let them violate the First Amendment. Then when the Kansas City Star called up the Federal Reserve, they said it wasn't real and it never happened. And then, of course, there's the First Amendment. So this is the type of stuff that goes on. This is the type of stuff that happens. And if you don't get really upset about it and you don't take action, there's another article out today where they're in the news saying the FCC and Congress are going to have hearings on censoring the Drudge Report and saying that his view on Obamacare or guns, that by linking the news articles, both pro and con, that it's political speech and that can be regulated as if it's campaign finance. So they can lock Matt Drudge up or Alex Jones up like they did Dinesh D'Souza. Dinesh D'Souza got 9 months in a group home minimum security facility for getting 5 friends to give donations to his friend running for Senate. Talk about having dirt under your fingernails and going to prison while the government burns down the country, while the criminals running it loot us 7 ways to Niagara Falls. I mean, this is crazy, crazy. And so there is a sustained attack going on. And why don't they want us to talk about, there it is, FCC commish. This is a massive power grab, government at its worst. Yeah, that's what's crazy is even the FCC admits that what Obama's bringing forward as new FCC regulations is a massive power grab. So even the FCC head is against it, but the rest of the board, part of the board, is not. And then FCC will have to do what Congress says, which is the way it's supposed to work, but Congress is just so traitorous, it's crazy. Are you worried about the state of the First Amendment? All over the country, they were arresting people for filming police. Now they're passing laws saying you can't put security cameras on your own property, that it's wiretapping, while the government and Google and everybody else surveil everything we're doing illegally in many cases. They're saying we can't use these technologies to protect ourselves. The system is scared to death of their own big brother system. And it's not a monolith. Most people in the government are aware of what's happening and don't like it. But it doesn't matter because the people running it at the top are bad news. But we need to separate the bad guys at the top from the rank and file in government because they want us all fighting with each other. They always go after the biggest dogs. If they can bring us down, ladies and gentlemen, they can bring you down. That's common sense. We hang together, we hang separate. I mean, every day there's news articles about how viral we are consistently and how we can now more and more set news agenda and force things out there to be debated. The system does not like that. That's why they want to shut down talk radio. That's why they want to shut down the Drudge Report. That's why they want to shut down InfoWars. That's why they want to shut down WorldNet Daily. They've been behind the scenes, and Joseph Farah doesn't really want me to talk about it, but harassing the living daylights out of them. You need to understand we're under attack. And that means you're under attack. And how you fight back against that is you realize we're winning. That's why we're under attack, ladies and gentlemen, because we're cleaning the globalist clocks right now. We don't work for special interest. Our special interest is the American people. Our special interest is what's honorable. Our special interest is when men were men and women were women and cars were fast. God, guts, and guns. John Wayne. But we're here doing this because we care about freedom. We want you to get a fair shake. We want a fair shake. And I take these attacks as an opportunity. And this is just one that I'm mentioning. I mean, look at this fraudulently filed copyright claim. But imagine, our website would be shut down. It says, photo of child killed at Sandy Hook shows of a Pakistan school shooting. I mean, we're not even saying in that headline that children weren't killed. We get criticized for trying to be open about this because we can't prove it one way or the other. So they take down our video, photo of child killed at Sandy Hook, shows a Pakistan school shooting. David Knight shows, we're going to show the video next hour, play it, BBC articles and BBC news stills and different rallies showing this guy's son, Lenny Posner. You'd think Lenny, if this is really him filing this from the HONR network, would want to know why they're showing his son in Pakistan. Why don't you call them? Why don't you call the BBC? Let me see. Did you put a copyright claim out on the BBC because they showed rallies showing your son's picture in Pakistan that was reportedly killed at Sandy Hook? I mean, that's what the Sandy Hookers, that are out there that are upset about people that see blue screens with CIA operative Anderson Cooper's nose disappearing and circles of people going in and out of the building. It looks like a Hollywood production, and then guys in the woods that are grabbed in camo, and the media says they weren't there, and it turns out they were, and they're an anti-terror force. I mean, and school experts say this is impossible. I mean, I don't know. For heaven's sakes, I'm sad for your son. Regardless, whatever's going on here, but you want to get rid of our free speech. That's outrageous. And this is what they always push. Turn your guns in. It's for the children. Turn your First Amendment in. It's for the children. Don't ask why you have multiple videos of CNN reporters' noses disappearing, and you can see that it's a video in the background with the flowers blowing, where they then blow again from the same position. I mean, we got green screen here, folks. We know what it looks like. I run a TV studio. 20 years on air, folks. We know what we're talking about. We don't know what's going on. We just know it doesn't look right. So frustrating. This is amazing. The claimant is the HONR network, Lenny Posner, HONR network at gmail.com. And then they say the claimant is Fox, WEBEN enforcement, web enforcement at fox.com. So television episode has no title. They don't claim what it is they showed that was theirs. So are they partnered with Fox in this fraud against the First Amendment? Or is someone else filing this and Posner's not involved and Fox isn't involved? So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And if we try to upload this video today for you to see it, they'll hit us with more of these and take the channel down for sure. So until I filed and stated that this is fraudulent, we won't even put this up on YouTube. That's the way these people operate. This is newsworthy that the Sandy Hook organization, one of the dominant organizations, and these families have been used to push gun control, you name it, is now not just going after the Second Amendment, they're now going after the First Amendment. What do you make of that? I mean, I guess, should I just shut up forever and never and just quit my show? I mean, is that what you're saying? Or if I want to do a report on Wells Fargo Bank laundering drug money, that was in Bloomberg, if I go stand across the street from Wells Fargo, will they claim it's... Oh, I had the Federal Reserve of San Antonio 3 years ago when we had an In the Fed rally out in front of it. I forgot. I had them claim a copyright, claiming that their building was their copyrighted material, and I couldn't show it. Of course, that was overturned. You people are out of your minds. But if you go to this HONR network that reportedly has filed this claim trying to take down our YouTube channel, and they have taken down the video and suspended some of our rights while we're, quote, under investigation, they say on their website they will use every means necessary to shut down to bring awareness to hoaxers' activity and to criminally and or civilly prosecute those who wittingly and publicly defame, harass, and emotionally abuse the victims of high-profile tragedies. That means questioning any tragedy is abuse. And that's what they're pushing in the EU, where you can't criticize anything. No more free speech. Of high-profile tragedies and or family members. We intend to hold such abusers personally accountable for their actions in whatever capacity the law allows. Well, you better look into what happened to Right Haven and other groups that have gone down this road. I mean, I'm sorry that you don't want us to show BBC showing your son at rallies of dead children in Pakistan. We just are saying something's going on here. And we're sorry that, you know, the First Amendment is so upsetting. But we're going to be investigating this. We're going to be looking into this. We're going to be countering this. And we're going to be dealing with this. And I tell you, it has been just an ongoing issue that even amongst my own reporters, there's different views on this. And they're all well-balanced, researched, serious questions. Because we have a government and a corporate system that engages in hoax after hoax after hoax. So we have to look at everything as if it could be a hoax. And I'm sorry. But that's what happens when the system loses all credibility. But now this group, the HONR group, says they're copywriting names and we can't say them. I guess they'll go to our web providers and claim, well, you're just going to get sued. You're going to lose. I mean, there's no debating it. I've got course of action right now if this group stands up and says, indeed, they did this. I don't want to do that. You want to attack us for saying it's a hoax when our reporters are investigating it and are on two different ends of the spectrum? We are allowed to investigate, and we will investigate. And the question is, why don't you want this investigated? I'll recap in the next segment. We just have a copyright claim by one of the largest Sandy Hook groups claiming that we can't show a clip, just a screenshot of a BBC report and other newspapers showing one of the reported dead of Sandy Hook as one of the dead at a terrorist attack. And it is the same photo. It is the child. And we didn't say his kid wasn't killed. And they came in and they're trying to take our YouTube channel down. This is a big deal, folks. Again, that'd be like saying I couldn't stand in front of a McDonald's on the city street and shoot a video report. McDonald's would claim a copyright claim because I showed the golden arches. I can't put a golden arches up over my business as a trademark and sell goods under the golden arches. So, yes, they could get me for copyright if I was selling stuff based off his son's image. We're not. We're reporting on another news report. That's crazy. I mean, it's just absolutely cut and dry, indefensible, and they've said on their site they do it to shut down people's speech. So then in a court, that would show malice of forethought to shut down the First Amendment. That's a civil rights violation. So you better talk to your lawyers over there at your HONR network, and or maybe they don't care. Maybe they think everybody's ignorant and dumb out there, and you can just run around doing stuff like this. We're not going to put up with it. I know I'm making a big deal out of it because it is a big deal. I'm against SOPA. I'm against CISPA. I'm against all these different forms of censorship, misapplying copyright. I'm against all this garbage that's going on. It's very, very dangerous. And we need the net neutrality we've had, not have government, quote, be the guardian of net neutrality. We need consumers to leave any company that tries to stop the flow of information over their networks. There is an organization that says they represent some of the Sandy Hook victims' family members called the HONR Newtown Group. And they say their reason to exist is to bring awareness to hoaxer activity and to criminally and or civilly prosecute those who wittingly and publicly defame, harass, and emotionally abuse the victims of high-profile tragedies and or the family members. So you're not supposed to question any big high-profile event. That's the new thought crime. We intend to hold such abusers personally accountable for their actions in whatever capacity the law allows. Coming up, I'm going to play the report that they have filed a false copyright claim on and shut down because we showed the BBC news article and several others showing the man that founded this group's son, Noah Posner, in Pakistani rallies for dead children killed by al-Qaeda bombs. All we said was, what's going on? Why are they showing this guy's kid over here, and when the Pakistanis are questioning whether those attacks even happened. And there's no response except, we're going to shut your website down. You're not supposed to do that. And this is how SOPA and CISPA, you get 3 strikes on the internet, not just on YouTube or a Google platform, and you're off the web with a web ID, you're banned. They give you 3 false claims, that's it. And this group's also saying you can't say the name of any of these children because they've copyrighted them. You can say the name of anything you want as long as it's free speech. It's copyrighted for the use in trademark sales, not McDonald's, Wendy's, Ford, Chevy, NFL, NHL, Procter & Gamble, I mean, Disney, Universal Studios, Major League Baseball, John Wayne. Look, there's John Wayne. I mean, that's what these people are claiming. But that's what they do under SOPA and CISPA. That's what these corporations are trying to change copyright law to do that. Law enforcement retired people that are investigating this are being threatened at their homes by the feds. They do not want Sandy Hook investigated, and I just can't believe how bold it is if what some people are saying is true. And I've been massively criticized for, not going with the whole thing being staged, in the first year or so. Wolfgang Halbig, former state police officer, former customs officer, he then over the next 20 years became the biggest school safety trainer in the country, to major colleges, you name it. I mean, he's the guy. And he just said, where are the helicopters being launched for the kids? Where's the ambulances? Where the whole thing was disregarded, and then they wouldn't let him into anything and acted very suspicious. Then they came to his house and threatened him. The answer to this censorship is we're just going to redouble our efforts investigating Sandy Hook. We need to stop cowing down to these people and let them know we're not putting up with their bullying anymore. And this is part of the attack on free speech worldwide, ladies and gentlemen. We're taking your phone calls on this subject. I'll shift gears into some others coming up after we talk to more of the callers and have some of the folks in here, David Knight and, of course, Rob Dew of InfoWars Nightly News, who have hosted Sandy Hook debates with so-called debunkers of the official story and debunkers of the debunkers. So for holding a debate in America and showing both sides, we now need to be taken off the air for the children. Isn't that just precious? This is how totalitarianism comes. Always packaged for the children. Brian in Alabama, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, really pleasure to be on. I do want to say that I was a part of one of those groups who did give you a lot of criticism on Sandy Hook because of what we blatantly saw, that we just couldn't understand how you couldn't see them either.
Is there a vacuum cleaner going in the background?
I'm sorry, that is actually my FM transmitter rebroadcasting your broadcast.
Ooh, that's awesome. So you got a micro pirate or something?
I don't call.
I know. It's a micro or a citizen broadcasting rig, but then the general public doesn't know what that means. So I say a micro pirate so that they understand the new term micro is what a pirate is, and then we can elaborate on the fact that it's not interfering with commercial broadcasts and the airwaves belong to the people. But listen, so you are a First Amendment crusader. I love the fact that every caller today is engaged in some type of media operation, Brian.
Yes, I'm also involved with Independent Media Solidarity, the group that put out the documentary We Need to Talk About Sandy Hook, which was brought about from another group known as the Max Resistance Roundtable, also over at Max Resistance.
Well, absolutely. Before we could even investigate it, there were videos with tens of millions of views bringing up the anomalies. There's been a real move to shut those folks down. What do you think of us being censored? What's been happening to you?
I can tell you lots about Lenny. This man is something that you've never seen before. He's got a group of trolls, and if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and call them out. These people would be
Well, listen, hold on. I don't want to give these people any attention. I'm going to have to get with lawyers on this and deal with this. But I understand that, if they're trying to shut us down, when we're just investigating it and looking at all sides, it must be horrible for folks out there that vehemently think this is staged. So just specifically, what have you gone through?
I can't even put up a video showing that he has put up a copyright strike against me without him copywriting striking that. They have taken my information and they gave it to one of his trolls in his network, and they went and they looked up all my information and put up a whole blog post about me and my daughter. Is what this troll network has done. These people are vile. And Lanny, if you're listening, your day is coming, my friend. It is coming.
Wow. I mean, this sounds like a war's going on. I think they made a major mistake involving us because we were basically showing both sides and getting criticized by both groups for it.
Oh, I totally agree. They don't know what they bit off. Go after them, Alex. Crush them.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to leave the First Amendment alone. But, I mean, it does show that how would they claim it's a Fox News copyright violation? There's no Fox News on there. It's a news article. I mean, how do you do that? It's just, it's amazing.
They have two different email addresses they used. I noticed you said that for this claim they used the HONR at Gmail. The other one that they use, I won't say it, but I'll tell you off air if you want to know what that one is off air.
Well, I'm not somebody to mess with, and I understand that they can, use children and whatever, and then, say the First Amendment's bad. But, I mean, I got to defend the First Amendment, and it's just wild to get into this subject. We got all this stuff happening worldwide, all these moves against the First Amendment going on. It's pretty hardcore. So we're going to have our news director in here with our news anchor to talk about this because they're trying to shut us down. Not so much specifically Sandy Hook connected groups that are suing Bushmaster, that are involved in going after the Second Amendment. It's confirmed this group is involved with that. It appears to be the group that's done this are the ones that did file it. We're just giving them the benefit of the doubt. This HONR network, this is the global program to shut down free speech, though. Feds hold hearings on whether they should, quote, regulate sites like Drudge, InfoWars, and others. So, I mean, these people are out of control. And now they file this copyright claim, claiming we have their Fox News footage when it's David Knight talking, showing a BBC News article where one of the Sandy Hook kids is up there supposedly dead in a bombing. So I'm going to go back to your calls, but just analyzing this, there's so many angles. News director of InfoWars Nightly News, Rob Dube, you've hosted debates on this subject. We've shown both sides. We've been attacked for saying, it might have happened as said, but there's some anomalies. We've been attacked for other reporters saying, no, I think, this is staged. Clearly something staged. So first off, let me just ask you both point blank, doing deep research on this last few years, David Knight and then Rob Dube, just briefly, what is your view on Sandy Hook?
Well, that's a can of worms. I think we're not getting the truth from day one. We weren't getting the truth.
And I suppose you don't believe Brian Williams either.
Oh, yeah, of course. After interviewing Halbig a couple times, having a debate with him, watching that film that came out that was censored heavily, that this coalition of people put together. I interviewed them right before that debate. People should go watch that whole InfoWars Nightly News. I mean, that's a lot of information on Sandy Hook. A couple years after it happened, we were coming up on the 2 year.
I wonder if they're going to censor that and take that down.
They might. I mean, we were talking about it.
I mean, we're not allowed to have two different guys on to debate it?
Exactly. And one of them was an American Free Press writer who is friends with Lenny Posner. And he's like, I know him personally. We're friends. You guys are making a big mistake having Wolfgang Halbig on. I said, well, why don't you debate him?
Oh, I love that. You're making a big mistake.
Yeah. And so
see, we're not even supposed to have a debate.
Right. You're not even allowed to talk about it.
And if you look at that debate, the guy who was opposing Halbig never offered any reason, never responded to anything that
he just attacked Halbig.
Halbig had some very specific questions, and the guy always just attacked Halbig.
Why didn't they call rescue helicopters?
Exactly.
On and on and on.
Yeah.
Why were the ambulances not even at the school? They were stuck at the firehouse.
Why did they classify the investigation? They've never done that with any previous shootings. Right. Why did they knock down the school and destroy?
Why did Mayor Bloomberg alert his people to get ready the day before for a big push?
Yeah.
They made it a felony to release birth certificates or death certificate information. What kind of country is that where you can't release birth certificate and death certificate information? I mean, if there's, what have you got to hide, as they like to say to us? You know, what have you got? Why are you so concerned about privacy? What have you got to hide? But it's only if you're going after one of their, I think it looks like an operation. It looks like something went on there, and it stinks to high heaven. It stinks to high heaven. You got the actor father who comes out, gets into character. I was a theater major. I worked with actors. I used to watch them get ready before they would go out and cry like that. I remember
you have a degree in theater.
I was in the play Our Town, and I'm sitting there watching these other people about to go out and do the funeral scene, and they're pumping themselves up, doing exactly what he did.
He's laughing and smiling, and then he walks out,
and then he's totally sad, crying. He was cracking jokes right before. That's an actor. That's an actor. I'm sorry.
You're not allowed to say that. I mean, Brian Williams was shot down in that helicopter.
There it is, right there. He's smiling. I mean, he's just.
And then he huffs and puffs and gets.
Yeah, that's what that is a telltale sign of somebody acting right there. Now, I don't know for a fact that this guy's an actor. That looks like acting all the way. It's just amazing that they continue to really go after people. I've got an article here from a guy I think was our last caller. Michael, he's been getting all kinds of grief from Mr. Posner. Anything that comes out, social media shut down due to Sandy Hook false copyrights. What's interesting is they list the address for the HONR network in Boca Raton, Florida. You look up the address on that, which says 908 North Dixie Highway. It is the address for a women's clothing store and a UPS U-Haul rental place, U-Haul neighborhood dealer. So here's the 908 North Dixie Highway. There is no suite, but it's got two different buildings listed that address. One is a J&J Shop women's clothing store, and you go to the other one, same address, U-Haul neighborhood dealer. Now you go to their About HONR network. I go to this one right here, guys. You can leave the camera right there. HONR network right there. It lists.
They say they're in Connecticut.
It says they're in Newtown, Connecticut. But you go to that address, it's a U-Haul UPS store. I'm sorry, it's a UPS store. Same address, Main Street, Newtown, Connecticut. It's a UPS store. So, and then you look on their website, what are they pushing? Donate, donate, donate. What did they push right after this? Donate, donate. There are millions of dollars people have given to Sandy Hook and the families. They've gotten government money. The police department got like several $1 million just from the federal government alone just to deal with the grief. So there's millions of dollars of money pouring into there. You think, you know, if they had this organization, they would have some sort of headquarters where they would be setting up a memorial.
Well, we'll just start investigating that. And I guess I'm going to have to probably go on up to Newtown. I'm going to have to probably go investigate Florida as well.
And going back to that Pakistani article where it shows the child's photograph from...
that was on the BBC.
Right. Even Snopes, the cat lady, even agrees with us. All right, they say
she's the ultimate authority.
Ultimate authority. Even they say we're mostly right on this, even though they call us infobores. But they are saying this is weird. Why is this kid's photo in with all these other kids' photos?
And let's make the point.
And it's not just one spot either. It's the kids holding it.
New listeners tune in every minute. Pakistan terror bombings. It's on BBC and a bunch of other places. They're showing Posner's kid, Noah, who reportedly died at the Sandy Hook event.
Right, in several locations.
And we're not supposed to ask that? And then we get a guy on to debate it, and we're nice, and he's like, you guys are making a big mistake?
Yeah.
The article that Don put up, he documented very clearly a lot of different pictures. We had two pictures from the French press agency, the big one, as well as on their Facebook. There were at least two from the BBC. There was a Facebook page in the Pakistan school. There was a memorial wall in Pakistan. Multiple sources. So why is this? And here's a question, Alex. Did they complain to the BBC? Did they complain to the French news agency saying you're photoshopping our kids' photos into other stuff, which is the basis of what this HONR organization is supposedly talking about, that they want to shut down anybody that misuses the images of their kids? Did they talk to the Pakistanis about this? Did they talk to the French news agency, to the BBC? I'd like to know. I doubt it.
And you made a point that this is the same group going after Bushmaster, the M4 manufacturer. Break that down.
Yeah, really, if you look at this, they're suing the gun manufacturer, saying that this is a gun that should never have been out there because it's a military weapon, so it should never have been sold to civilians.
And if they have their way, all semi-automatics will be shut down. Go ahead, sorry.
But here's the bottom line. This is a group that is going after the Second Amendment, full first. I mean, that's the first group that they sued. There's 10 families in this lawsuit against the gun manufacturer. The 2 families finally sued the school system for negligence, but 10 of them are going after the gun owners. And they've set up another website besides this one to just go after gun control. So their focus has been gun control. But when somebody has no respect for individual liberties on the Second Amendment, they're going to have no respect for the First Amendment either. These people are authoritarians and they have no respect for the rule of law. When you have a situation like this, I'm sorry for Sarah Brady's loss when her husband, Jim Brady, got shot.
But that's not our fault. That's not our fault. That the guy that was having dinner with the Bushes the night before shot her husband in the head?
But if the way you deal with your grief is to go out and try to punish innocent people by taking their liberties, if the way you try to deal with your grief is to go out and try to destroy the fundamental legal structure of our country, for which people died to establish the fact that we had a country that was based on individual liberty. If you want to try to destroy the foundations of our country, to try to go after innocent people's rights, to try to make it worthwhile, to try to make you feel better about your personal loss, I'm sorry, I have no respect for people like that.
Well, I mean, I've got stacks of news here today. I mean, there's so much news I'll cover in the third hour and take calls. It's just that this is a big deal because everywhere there's attacks on the First Amendment right now. David, speak to that. I mean, they're moving full force globally, not just here. Well, Zuckerberg met a month ago with the top communist Chinese internet czar and said, "I'm learning how to censor," and then he doesn't support.
He doesn't want a guy building a house near his backyard. Zuckerberg, he's like all up in arms that this guy is going to build a house near his backyard.
He also doesn't let people post images of Muhammad now on Facebook, though he says, I am Charlie, I am Spartacus, I am Charlie Hebdo, but no, he's not.
They have bumped up the cyber law that they were using to go after hackers. They bumped that up. They had a lot of things that were misdemeanors. They've now made felonies. They've tried. They want to invoke the RICO statute against that. They're coming back with CISPA again. They've got the trade treaties, the transatlantic, trans-Pacific partnerships that are going to be used for copyright to shut down free speech. That's one of the things that they're going to do with it. So it's multiple ways that they're coming after us. If you look at you've got the FCC that is now saying that they want to control the internet. Of course, they're going to come at it from the standpoint of net neutrality because they've taken a poll. They found out the majority of people want net neutrality. So they'll
just call it net neutrality.
Yeah, they'll use that to get control. They've been on both sides of this issue. They want control of the internet. That's what this is all about. They could care less about net neutrality, and they'll change it in a heartbeat if they want to.